I keep getting comments like, I want to shift, but I don't know how, and when I do try, I forget all the techniques. In short, there is no technique or sure way to make sure that you will shift or not. Minasan, konnichiwa. Welcome back to another video. Whatchamacallit. After my latest shifting video about how I went to the Promised Neverland very briefly, I got a lot of comments asking me, what method did you use? Oh, how long were you there? All those questions, all the answers that you need are in that video, but it seems like you all have the attention span of a goldfish. I'm not surprised, considering that that's actually how my friends are, and that's why a lot of people can't read classics anymore, because the reading level is quite high and people don't have the patience to get through all that. But that's not really the point here. I wanted to tell you all exactly just one video about how to shift without a method. Really, it's so simple, but you all keep complicating it for no reason, because I don't know. For example, we have 𝓬𝓤𝓘𝓽𝓪, right? That's his name, I think. I do watch him. I am subscribed to him. You may or may not have seen some of my comments on his videos because he's interesting, I suppose. A lot of his shifting videos, I've noticed that he does get stressed about shifting, right? And a lot of what happens is that when you get stressed over shifting, it makes you not shift because you're too focused on the end goal and not the path that you need to take to get there. A lot of it is trial and error, so I get that it's difficult to figure out what works best for you. For me, okay, this is a question that I recently got. A lot of people kept asking me, how long did it take for you to get to where you are? Or when was the first time you shifted? I have a journal somewhere. I think it's this one. I'll have to edit this out. If you don't do journaling, I recommend it because it helps you keep track of the dates and when you start something, when you don't start something, all that jazz, all that great stuff. Okay, so I believe the first time I started shifting was the 9th of October. Right now is March, October, November, December, January, February, March. That's 5 months, right? That was the 9th of October. Today is the 19th of March, I believe. But that's how long it took me to get here. And in the beginning, I never filmed anything. I didn't film my journey. I only wrote about it in my journal. And a lot of it was just me figuring out what works best for me. Because there were, I don't know, like 50,000 different methods and so many different people giving out different tips, different points that are supposedly supposed to help you get better at shifting or get you in the mindset. But the issue with that is we're all different, right? For that reason, there cannot be a set guideline to lead us to where we want to go. For example, you're a doctor, right? You want to be a doctor, but will your path be the same as the person in your classroom beside you? Probably not, because maybe they're smarter than you. No offense, this is just an example. I am sure you all have some intellectual level above mine. But in that example, right? If that person, maybe that person is better at studying than you. Maybe they're better at memorizing or better at taking tests. For that reason, your path will not be the same as theirs into becoming a doctor and getting your degrees. Same with shifting. I'm different from you. In my past, I studied a lot about mythology. I delved very deeply into spiritual teachings and philosophies, Chinese philosophy especially, and I read a lot about Wicca and witchcraft, all that kind of stuff, right? And Buddhism. Does that mean that my audience, you guys, have seen what I have seen or read all the material that I've read? No. Does that mean that you have similar opinions to me or maybe different takes on what I've read and researched? Yes. But does that mean that we are exactly the same? We cannot be a carbon copy of each other. And for that reason, sometimes you have to figure out what is the best way to shift. Quote unquote best. Because there obviously is no best way. You can't really say that one way is superior to another because there is no best way. For that reason, I have come up with the no method method. Did I really come up with this? Probably not, because I bet you that other people came up with the same thing that I had, because obviously shifting is not new. It wasn't invented yesterday. So I can't claim this as mine. This isn't mine, but it's just something that I came up with on my own. Take that in mind when it comes to all these methods, all this research, whatever. When you think about it, is it really supposed to belong to one person? Not really, unless it's something that's personal to you, of course. This method, specifically how I came up with it, is you take a nap, right? Then you wake up. You take another nap. Then you wake up again. And then you take a nap, and you have to figure out how to make sure that you're aware that you're dreaming. And from there, you have to say affirmations and imagine yourself transporting into your DR. And that is how I shifted. The issue with this is that you have to be able to figure out how to know you're dreaming. For me, that's not something that came naturally to me, so it took me months to figure out how to do that. And it's just something that does take a lot of time. A way that can help you figure out if you're dreaming or not is by looking at your hands, seeing if you can read stuff, seeing what you can do, or trying to imagine something happening in your dream. Those are ways that you can figure out if you're dreaming or not. Will they work for everyone? Probably not. So sometimes you have to figure out if that is something you can do, or if you have to come up with another method that fits your needs. In this one, I recommend taking about 3 to 4 naps, right? One, take probably like half an hour of a nap, or maybe 20 minutes. Wake up to an alarm, right? And you take a second nap, 15 minutes, probably about. And now you want to go back to sleep, right? For 5 minutes. And then from there, so that means that's 3 naps total. And then the last time, that's when you actually go to bed. The reason why I'm doing this is because I'm trying to mimic a sleep schedule of a student, because obviously I'm a student. That's kind of how I shifted during school. If you haven't seen that video, check it up here, please, and give it a like, comment, tell me your thoughts, or if you've shifted before, or if it was helpful for you. Anyway, what the whole schedule that I did was to mimic my own needs. So that's why it's like, half an hour nap. That's because I'm in an interval between classes. Then I wake up. Then I take a class or something, and I go back to sleep again for like maybe another 15-20 minutes. Then from there, take another nap. Probably about 5-minute nap. Then go to bed. Actual like bed, not really bed, but like take another nap. And this time you're actually going to sleep for real, and you're going to figure out if you're dreaming or not. In that time frame, you want to figure out if you can find any signs to tell yourself, oh, this is just a dream. And if not, if you're just feeling drowsy and you know that, you can shift instead of doing it during a dream, and you use like a method such as the Raven method, or I don't know, the 𝓎𝓤𝓘 method. I don't know what it's called, because the only one I've really used, like actually used in my whole shifting journey, is the Raven method. That and my own figment of a method that doesn't have a name or really any steps. It's just something that worked for me. But anyway, back to this. If you can't fall asleep, then I don't know. Some people say take sleeping pills. I do not recommend that. Only because that's not natural, and if you're not careful, maybe it won't be good for you, but that's my preference. Obviously, you can do whatever fits you because I'm not a doctor or anything. I'm not you, so I wouldn't know what works best for you. But anyway, if you don't want to go transport yourself to your DR through a dream while saying affirmations, what you can do before you go to bed is use a method. Probably, if you want a sleep method, if you're drowsy enough. But if you're not drowsy enough to do a sleep method, I recommend doing the no sleep methods, such as the Raven method. I think is a no sleep. I don't really know because I kind of warped it into something else that fit me, like how I do a lot of times. My thoughts are so jumbled right now. I'm so hungry. I have not eaten anything yet. And it is almost 13 o'clock. And I'm making a YouTube video. Yay. What time is it? It's 13:01. Okay, I have like 19 minutes before my next class. So my point that I completely lost in this jumble of a tangent, a ramble, etc., is you don't need a method to shift. Was that important? And you most certainly do not have to follow everything to the T. If you do use this so-called no method that I'm presenting to you now, warp it into something that works for you. Because this doesn't have to be followed exactly. Use it as your own and figure out what works best for you. I'm so jumbled. Until next time, mata ne!